Good evening. Now, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is the target of an aggressive charm offensive by the ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition. The son of Sekuru, who differed with his coalition partners by attending the Mashujaa celebrations, insists that he is in the opposition to stay, at least for the next 5 years. So just what is Kalonzo up to? In Meru County, there is no light in Mwangaza's tussle with the members of County Assembly. Tonight we debate the oversight question and the latest in politics on Pandits Night. I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. As always, remember you can be part of this discussion. Send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is Pandits Night. Let me reintroduce our guests tonight as earlier publicized. Joe Nyutu is the Senator, Murang'a County. Ndegwa Wahome is the Chairman, County Assemblies Forum. Alan Chesang had confirmed the Senator for Trans Nzoia, but was admitted to hospital and has sent his apology. We wish him the very best and quick recovery. Washimiwa, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Abu.
Ndegwa Wahome, I introduced you as the chairman. You're still, I believe, yes, the chairman of the County Assemblies Forum.
County Assemblies Forum. Actually, today I was holding the first governing council meeting of the new elected MCAs. We have 2 from each assembly, and their speaker, a total of 141. I have also 10 chapters in County Assemblies Forum, representing the majority leaders, minority leaders, the whips, the PWD, the women, the youth, the cracks, 10 of them, a total of 151.
And is that part of the transition process?
That is part of the transition. Actually, we were coming to resolve on the election protocols. Elections will be held on the 7th of November. I'm expecting that if there is no dispute on the outcome of the elections on the 7th, I should inaugurate the new leadership of County Assemblies Forum on 18th of November. If there are any disputes or grievances, then we shall allow our arbitration committee as provided by the Constitution 14 days, and then I will have to hand over at least by 28th of November.
All right, Mheshimiwa Joe Nyutu, it's the first time I'm hosting you on Pandits Night. Congratulations, you are the Senator of Murang'a County.
Yeah. Thank you, Abu, for having me. And yes, as you have said, rightly put it, and by the grace of God, I'm the Senator of Murang'a County via the votes of the people of Murang'a. And I'm happy to be here tonight to discuss the various issues about oversight, which is the basic and major role that a senator is supposed to play. And so oversight is actually the right thing for me to come and discuss tonight.
And to the viewers, the composition of this panel is partly informed by our topic of discussion, which is the oversight question. You'll remember the members of county assemblies do play the oversight role at the county level. The senators do play equally that role at a national level. Before we get to that role, let's talk quickly of politics. Mheshimiwa Joe Nyutu, I can start with you. We have seen a charm offensive, as I introduced, to get Kalonzo Musyoka to the ruling coalition, which is Kenya Kwanza coalition.
Yeah.
Some fault that as a way of wanting to kill the opposition. Is it so?
If the facts I have are right, I think this issue of maybe the one that you are calling charm offensive to get Kalonzo Musyoka out of opposition into government. But I think it is not the initiative of the Kenya Kwanza coalition, because it is Ukambani leaders led by Governor Wavinya Ndeti of Machakos who actually came up with this idea. And I want to believe that maybe Kalonzo Musyoka is using emissaries like Wavinya Ndeti because maybe he needs a job. So I don't think actually that the initiative is coming from Kenya Kwanza. I think it is coming from Kalonzo Musyoka himself through now some leaders like Wavinya Ndeti, because they say that ongeeni huko muone vile, we are ready to work with government. And yes, so I don't think it's an offense.
Well, Senator, you say you don't think it is an initiative by Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
If you listen to what the president said, and I can quote him here, yes. I want you to know that I looked for Stephen, sat down with him, yes. told him, here is the government, let's work together. And he told me he wants to try the opposition first. So let him try opposition first, then we see where he gets. This is the president, in a nutshell, saying he looked for Kalonzo, isn't it?
Yes, as you know, it's in the past tense, you know, that I looked for him, and that was in response to a Vineyard Ndeti's, kind of request. And so, yes, the president was looking for actually everybody, and that's why we have UDM of Ali Roba on our side. And I think I want to believe that that is the time that the president was looking for Kalonzo Musyoka, as he was looking for the others, because every president, everyone in power needs numbers. It's not like Kenya Kwanza did not have numbers, but I mean,
you want to have more numbers.
More numbers. All
right, let me bring in Ndegwa to the question, perhaps the same question. This has been cited as a move to further weaken an already weak opposition.
I don't think so. The opposition, they have their numbers. Kenya Kwanza has their numbers. And I think we have a robust democracy. By any definition, we have a robust democracy in this country, from the formations and the setup that is there. The other issue is that Kalonzo Musyoka is a very hard negotiator. He will never say what he wants, but we all know what he would be wanting from every situation. You remember that he had to literally be dragged into Azimio until he got almost what everything that he wanted. The zoning, almost the entire Ukabani was left to him, and that is why he has many members of parliament. He has so many MCAs, and therefore even now, I believe when the president says that he called him and told him this is the government, maybe looking at all the interest coalescing around that government, he wanted to retreat so that if he is insisted on to come in, that then it would be on his terms. Because one thing I respect about Kalonzo Musyoka is that he is a very hard negotiator. And Kalonzo Musyoka looks at his interests and maybe those of his people without blinking.
Ndegwa Wahome, you say he's a tough negotiator.
Yeah.
Some would say he is indecisive.
And at the end of the day, you will find that he comes out the winner. Even from all the way from Kibaki. He went after Kibaki, and Raila fought Kalonzo Musyoka with, I think, 16 members of parliament. He became the vice president of this country. And after 2013 and then the Azimio arrangement, you find that the Rua Eastern was left for him. And then where the ODM was strong, he was also allowed to have his candidates there. And yet, seriously, into the ODM constituency, including in Kisii, where he got some seats, and including those of MCs, and in Mombasa, which was a bastion of the ODM. So Kalonzo, he looks very vulnerable. He looks very weak, but at the end of the day, he has the last smile. And for this one, I know Kalonzo has already retreated before he attacks. And he will be, as the senator says, this talk by Wavinya Ndeti and Marombe, the governor for Kitui, seriously, that was Kalonzo Musyoka speaking. And when he did,
speaking that he wants to be part of the government?
He wants to be part of the government, and by being part of the government does not kill the opposition. At the end of the day, as the president said, we want everybody's hand on the deck. This country, the kind of challenges we have, there is no opposition to play around. The issues are so many. The challenges are too big, and we need everybody together to be focused on how we address these concerns and challenges. And now we start addressing and fulfilling the aspirations of our people.
Mheshimiwa John Yutu, when the leaders of that region are telling the president to go and look for Kalonzo, it seems as though they want him to be part of the government, isn't it?
Yes. They want him to be part of the government. And like Mheshimiwa Ndegwa is saying, I think I want to say the same, that is Kalonzo Musyoka speaking. Kalonzo Musyoka needs a job. But going back a bit, I hold a slightly different view from my brother, Honorable Ndegwa. I think I would say Kalonzo Musyoka, for me, is both a hard negotiator, but also indecisive. Because looking at recent happenings and things that he has done recently, Kalonzo Musyoka, you remember that time when the Azimio coalition was going to carry out interviews for the running mate of Raila Amolo Odinga, and you remember Kalonzo had said that he would not attend that interview, and he had actually even sworn. Even before that, he had said that he would be the biggest fool to support somebody for the 4th time. But later he still supported Raila. He had sworn that he was not going to attend these interviews. Later he decided to attend the interviews. Kalonzo Musyoka applied to be Speaker of the National Assembly and at the same time Speaker of the Senate. But by the time, both the houses were sworn in and ready now to elect speakers, the clerks of the different houses were reading again a withdrawal letter from the same Kalonzo Musyoka. Very indecisive. I don't know how he gets his way, because...
some would say he's playing his cards perfectly well, isn't it?
Yes.
Cause a confusion. Emerge the winner, as Mheshimiwa says.
Yes, maybe it is, but sometimes you look at what he was planning to win by expressing interest in being Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate, and then withdrawing. I do not know. Maybe my brother is more familiar with that kind of strategy, but I don't see what he was going to gain. Actually, it ended up being very embarrassing for him, in my view, and so. Maybe it is a way of doing things, but I don't see anything much that he has gained recently. The only time it paid off very handsomely was in 2007 when he joined the late Mwai Kibaki and became vice president. After that, I've not seen much that he has gained.
But Joe, if the president is to be foresighted to 2027,
yes,
this is a voting bloc led to the teeth by him.
Yes,
he would want Kalonzo in his matrix, isn't it?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
And
Kalonzo is a valuable asset to any serious...
Abu, and maybe to intervene on this one.
Yes.
I think when Kalonzo Musyoka indicated that he would not be going for the interviews, he was trying to dangle the carrot and the stick. And what he wanted to... The message he was actually speaking to BAMBA and to Uhuru, that if you call me for the interview, you are not giving me the running mate slot, then be assured that I'm not with you. And he waited until the very last moment. If you remember, he walked into the interview room a few minutes before his time expired, when he found that actually he could not get his way for the running mate. So that is what he was negotiating. And at the end of the day, they had to create the position of chief secretary for him. So he never came out empty-handed. For the Senate, Kalonzo Musyoka, until the last moment, he thought the nominated senators would not have been gazetted by that time. I don't know what informed him that he could be able to move a senator or two in his favor. At the end of the day, when he found that he puts himself strategically, that he is present and occupying that space. But when he finds that that space is co-deciding and that it might not be available for him, he will retreat. And the kind of thing that Kalonzo has is that he does not mind what people talk about it. He speaks to himself and listens to himself. As far and as long it is an interest that serves him and his people.
And Chairman, you say he speaks to himself, he does not care of what others say. Is that coming with a cost that is easily being branded?
Actually, obviously, it has cost him. But still, when you weigh the successes and the failures, you'll find that Kalonzo Musyoka is still there. And he is a kingpin in Lower Eastern. Right. And he has also spread tenterhooks across this country. And you also learn that even today, I don't know whether the peace ambassador that he was given by the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, to keep him around himself. He was given a position of a peace ambassador. He is in Southern Sudan, he is in DRC Congo. So Kalonzo Musyoka remains active and relevant. And he has managed to do that. Unlike many people, you'll find BAMBA is out of the matrix, out of government. Mudavadi has been in the cold there, everybody. But Kalonzo Musyoka is always near the kitchen. Even if he is not inside, at least he is getting the warmth from the kitchen.
All right, and to be fair, he, of course, while addressing a gathering over the weekend, faulted the president and the new regime, saying that we are staring at an emergence of a personalized dictatorship in which a leader decides to avoid constraints and believes he does not need to consult anyone on decision making. We are seeing a leader personal philosophies, fears and ambitions being presented to the country as policies. It is a one-man show. He's faulting the government while his foot soldiers, and that's a very common term in politics, want him to be the government. Senator Joe.
I think one thing that we must give to the Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is that he is a smart politician. But I still insist he is indecisive. But he's very smart to be relevant for now almost 40 years, because I think he was first elected, was it in 1985? To be relevant for about 40 years is not a joke. And we have not seen the last of Kalonzo Musyoka. And so this is a man, of course, that you cannot ignore. And I want to agree with my brother that Kalonzo Musyoka is a kingpin of Ukambani. And although, you know, even when he seems like, you know, like down, but he later proves that he was not out, because like now the three governors of Ukambani had actually, you know, parted ways with him, and at the end of the day, it is Kalonzo Musyoka that had the last laugh, because I mean, I think if the Kibwana tried to be the senator of Makueni and he was beaten by Maanzo, Ngilu actually the ground
withdrew her candidature.
He withdrew her candidature because the ground was very hostile, of course, and of course. Mutua was also smart, maybe crossed over to our side, and he knew that that was the side that was going to win. Otherwise, he didn't have a lot of favor with the people of Ukambani. And so you cannot ignore Kalonzo Musyoka. But talking about a personalized presidency, I want to say here, and this is a fact, that William Ruto is a leader who consults very widely. And that is why you see William Ruto with Musalia Mudavadi, a leader of big and great repute. Somebody like Moses Wetangula. I mean, and you look at even how he has distributed the positions of CSs and those plum positions, and you see a leader who promises something and delivers and keeps his promises. This is not somebody that this is not a leader that somebody can call a dictator. If he was, after he won the elections, then he would have forgotten and maybe he would have kicked out or not honored the agreements he had with the people like Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, I mean, somebody like Alfred Mutua, Muturi, Justin, I mean, all these party leaders. And so when Kalonzo Musyoka sensationally claims that we have maybe something surrounding somebody in the name or in the person of the president, I think it's very unfair, because William Ruto consults very widely, and I'm telling you that as somebody who is in Kenya Kwanza. And so I think nothing can be further from the truth than what, I mean, Kalonzo Musyoka is alleging. But anyway, we understand that he's playing opposition, and he has to use the language of the opposition. But I think that allegation is not true.
And actually, I would say that that statement is a very unfortunate coming from such a ranking politician like Kalonzo Musyoka. But I think Kalonzo Musyoka is merely crying for attention, and that is how he does his politics, and albeit successfully, that he brews cold and hot at the same time. And I can tell you, when I see on the footsteps of the State House, I see Kalonzo Musyoka and William Ruto, the president, emerge from there, I will not be surprised. Therefore, he is calling for attention. The other issue is that William Ruto, as Senator John Newto is saying, is a guy who consults. William Ruto will, if he needs something from an MCA, he will call that MCA and they will engage. And that is why you find, even in those opposition bastions, like Homa Bay, because people like Governor Gladys Wanga, they cannot resist the charm of the president. They can only run away. Because if he fights them there, engages them, they will sing his song. And that's why he said that his choir has enough members. He does not require other members, but they need to work together. So for William Ruto, because I have had the privilege to engage with him, he is a person who will come to you. He will be open, he will listen, he consults, and you feel that there is ownership even of the kind of dialogue that you are engaging with him. Right. And therefore, I would say that as I conclude on that, that it was a very unfortunate statement from Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, but we understand he is crying from the wilderness for attention.
All right, let's move away from politics now and get to main topic of discussion, which is the oversight question. Oshma Ndegwa Home, let me start with you. In 2010, Kenya ushered a new constitution, not relatively new now. It's 12 years old now. This is the third parliament, both at the devolved and the national level, that will implement devolution. What, in your view, is the progress that devolution has made in Kenya?
Devolution was a dream that we are seeing the fruits of that dream. And in some instances, it is quite encouraging. In other instances, it is very unfortunate because we know the kind of billions that are coming to the counties. And what, as the subject is on the issue of oversight, is that we just need to take care of these monies that are coming to the counties. And I had said that if we take proper care of the monies that come to the counties, both the Senate and Article 96 of the Constitution, they oversight offer national government and national resources coming to the counties. And actually almost over 90% of the resources that come to the counties come from the national government. So the Senate has an equal role, just like the MCAs, to make sure that the billions that are coming to the counties, they are accrued and expended for the cause that they were meant. But unfortunately, what we have is that when we are starting to play oversight, I think many of us are not very clear on what oversight is. Where do this oversight start? If the budget outlook and review paper, you don't look at it and understand where you are coming from, so that it can inform the future. That you just say that there was a cattle dip that is being done there, has it been done properly? We must start from looking what was there last year, what was the shortfalls, how are we addressing them. Then we go to the county fiscal strategy paper, and then you ensure that monies are allocated to the priority areas and that they will be expended to those priority areas. The other issue is the county integrated development plan, and you are able through the annual development plan to pick the particular areas and cost those programs and ensure that the costed programs, that there is value for money for our people. Otherwise, you don't understand the budget making process, you don't understand the Public Finance Management Act, you don't understand the laws that are in operation, in application, to ensure that monies are expended within the parameters and within the regime of the law. Then there would always be a problem.
Senator John Newto, before this interview, I went to Wikipedia just to understand what oversight, the basic definition is. It describes it as the action of overseeing something.
Yes.
What are senators, you included, who sit in the upper house of the two houses, overseeing?
Thank you, Abu. I think for me, the primary responsibility of oversighting the county government, the expenditures of the county government and the running of the resources of the county government, for me, I think it should be the county assembly. And that is why, because these are the people that, of course, approve the budget that is brought to them by the executive at the county level. And so the primary responsibility lies with the county assembly, because normally Senate will wait until, or a senator may have to wait until, for example, the Auditor General makes their report at the end of the financial fiscal year, and maybe see exactly how all those things, Public Finance Management Act, and whether it was followed, see whether hiring and firing of staff was done procedurally, and if maybe in a situation where MCAs maybe impeach the governor, then of course the matter will be brought again to the Senate, and the Senate will look at the merits or lack of it thereof, and decide whether to approve the impeachment or to maybe let the governor off the hook. And so for me, the way I understand it, the Senate plays a secondary role, with the primary role being played by the county assembly, because these are the people that are interacting with the executive all the time. They're the people that look at the budget, and they're the people who know what should be done in the budget, and all those things that the former Speaker of Nyandarua County has explained. And
but you will understand, in the first and the second Senate, yes, senators were accused of harboring political ambitions, frustrating governors. And quite a number of them have been elected in the 9th of August as governors, isn't
yes,
it? Inclusive of Nairobi Senator,
yeah,
Murang'a Senator, for
yes,
instance, your own county.
Yes.
Where do you draw the balance of overseeing your oversight role and political ambitions of wanting to frustrate a governor, as cases were cited then?
You cannot. For example, the Senate has powers, and the Supreme Court ruled that a few days ago, that the Senate has powers to summon maybe a governor, but you will not, just because you have a political ambition, summon a governor to just come and, just because you have a political ambition. Of course, there will be some. There should be some evidence that maybe the governor has pilfered county resources, or has mismanaged county resources. And so it's about facts and figures. So whether or not you have an ambition, you'll have to present facts and figures. It's not a case of fault finding and witch hunting. I mean, even those that were accused of maybe having ambition, and that is why maybe they were like frustrating their governors, of course, without citing any cases, but I think they must have presented facts and figures showing that there was a problem in the management of county resources.
And Dego Ohome, in the last two parliaments, Parliament was accused of being an extension of the executive, a rubber stamp for the executive, and not necessarily a check and balance mechanism. Do you expect anything different from the 13th Parliament?
Yes, and Abu, maybe before I come to that, on the issue of oversight within the county resources, and what Senator has said actually should be the ideal situation, that the assemblies are allowed to oversight the resources that are being expended by the governors, because we are with the governor every day. We are at the lowest unit of governance, that is the ward. But unfortunately, Article 96 of the Constitution says that the Senate will oversight all the resources allocated to the county from the national government.
Yes.
And that is actually 90%. And that is why you'll find that after we look at the audit reports by the Auditor General, and we do our own report as the county assemblies, our report only goes there as a reference material. It is dismissed, and the Senate, they use it as a reference material. They go and prepare their report. Their report is final. Therefore, it is a very serious lacuna and disconnect. Unfortunately, it is a constitutional provision. It would have to be revisited if the Constitution is being reviewed. So that is a big issue. And that is why we have been supporting, as the County Assemblies Forum, that senators get some funds to be able to help us in the oversight, because it is their constitutional obligation. Unfortunately, our parliament, our National Assembly, has been assisting. I can never understand why the National Assembly of this country, and I think these members of parliament will sober up and allow senators to have a kitty, as was recommended by the president, to have a kitty to be able to move around Murang'a County for the senator and see what is happening. If we require some engineers to advise him on some constructions that are happening there, water engineers, road civil engineers, and the others. Otherwise, until we change the constitution, they have a very major role, and the ball largely stops with them as we do the day-to-day oversight over the county resources. On the other issue, I have come here, Abu, and I have said that the last parliament, tour of the parliament, was a total embarrassment. Actually,
in what way was it?
Yes?
In what way was it?
Because actually there was nothing inspiring that came from that National Assembly. And you remember I have come here with the members of that tour of the parliament. And they agreed, the ones that I came with here, that clearly they were not very sure what they were supposed to do. They kind of were waiting for instructions to come from a certain direction. And therefore, Wajiko was left on his or her own. And therefore, I'm believing, and I'm very happy, Mheshimiwa Senator, about the robustness of debate, both at the Senate and at the National Assembly. Sometimes even people, somewhere I was watching through Bunge la Mwananchi, at a place in Nyandaro, we are looking at Kimani Ichung'wa, the questions he is posing for the nominees by the president, especially on the area of integrity. And they were asking, is Ichung'wa not supporting the president's nominees? But you remember that the president has been saying that when he came to parliament in 1997, he met Paul Mwite and told him, if you want to help your government constructively, question your government to make it succeed. So therefore, Mheshimiwa Nyutro and your colleagues in the National Assembly, I'm very happy. You have started very well on a very sound grounding, and we expect that the 13th Parliament will undo what was wrongly done by the tour of the Parliament.
Senator Nyutro, perhaps the same question. Previous parliaments were accused of being quote-unquote in bed with the executive.
Yes.
Where does the Senate draw a distinction on its roles as a Senate, purely elected by Kenyans, and an executive headed by the president?
Of course, I really don't want to blame members of the past parliament, the 12th parliament. There was a lot of intimidation because though we were not in parliament, but of course we could see the goings on in that particular, the two houses. In that, from the information that we have, is that they would be called for PGs, and nobody actually would be allowed to say anything. The party leader, especially of Jubilee, would just, give them a briefing that was normally not very kind and polite, as they say. And the PGs would not last even 30 minutes. And that is what they say. So if people were intimidated, and we know that is why maybe that parliament behaved the way it did. And those that tried to go against the grain, actually most of them were kicked out of the committees, and the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wa is one, the sitting majority leader is one such leader that got it very many people, Moses Kuria, Dende Nyoro, all these people that were Alice Wahome, all these people that were going against the directives. And so now to come to your question, I think this will be a different parliament because the president himself is encouraging us as parliamentarians to oversight his government. The president has pronounced himself and is very clear that he actually will not enter into a Nusumkate kind of arrangement. He insists that the opposition should play its role of oversighting government. And so we do not expect that the independence of the legislature will be interfered with by the executive. And so I think political goodwill is everything. And I think we are lucky that we have Dr. William Samoei Ruto as President of Kenya, who is a Democrat and who wants everybody to play their role independently and contribute in the nation building in the way everyone is supposed to do so.
And of course, it is the test of time that will tell whether that plays to what you are saying, Senator. Mheshimiwa Ndegwa Wahome, we are talking of oversight and devolution. A case in point is the trouble brewing in Meru County. The governor and the members of the county assemblies, a brewing standoff between the two. The governor accusing the MCAs of wanting, quote, some facilitation to pass her list of CECs. She's accusing the members of county assembly of witch hunt.
I think the Meru case is very unfortunate. And because I've been able to talk to some MCAs from Meru and some opinion leaders from Meru. And I think it is a very unfortunate case that the government has not even started working. And it has started fighting. If the fights were happening maybe in the first year, after the first year, we would have said that there were some disagreements, some non-implementation of the budgets. But at this time, it is too early. But I think the governor for Meru should be the leader. She is the leader of Meru, and I think the MCAs for Meru, they appreciate that. And even today, if you have seen them, they are saying, if the governor calls us, we are going to go. And we are going to discuss because we want Meru to move forward. But for the governor to go out there addressing the MCAs through the press, I don't think it is helpful to the people of Meru. Maybe you would ask me, why in Nyandarua you are also addressing the governor through the press? But we were addressing the governor in Nyandarua through the press after 2 years and noting that nothing was happening in that county, despite billions coming in that county. And despite sitting even through the elders, Meru we have during Ncheke, in Nyandarua we had the Kiama, the Kikuyu Council of Elders, and we actually had meetings with the governor, and we pretended to listen, but did not do anything. We had the church, bishops, and I expect that Meru should have first gone that direction, but it is too early to disagree.
And that governor is the former Nyandarua governor, Francis
Kimemia.
All right, but Mheshimiwa, you will understand the executive power at the county level, the constitution vests it on the governor, isn't it? MCAs are portrayed as though they want to interfere with that executive power that the governor has constitutionally.
I don't think that is so. And if for Meru, although this is insider information I've received from a privileged position, is that when the governor and the MCAs met in Mombasa, they clearly told the governor, as you even bring the supplementary budget, you have to allocate money per ward so that there is some equity. And almost all the counties' assemblies are doing that. Some have done laws, others have done regulations, and others through agreement with their governors, so that every ward has an equal amount, and then the governor can also intervene with the bigger budget that is left with him, 70% like in the case of Nyandarua. But in this case, after they discussed that in Mombasa, the governor never even waited for the discussion to end. And then, before they could even settle after he walked out on the MCAs from Mombasa, I'm saying I've received this information from privileged position. Then they insisted that he should not come to address the assembly before they sort out the issues that were never sorted in Mombasa. And that is on allocation of money to go to the specific wards, not for the MCAs. And so therefore what I'm saying is this: the governor should be the leader of Meru.
All right,
and the MCAs are under him. And the MCAs have told me, and they have said clearly even to the press, they are ready to be summoned by the governor anytime, anywhere, and discuss on how Meru can move forward.
And they are accusing her of not picking their calls. I think they said that in a press conference earlier. Senator, they are already in fights before the work starts, as Mheshimiwa puts. What kind of a picture does that portray?
No, it's a very unfortunate picture, and it should not happen in any of our counties. But I think for me, the governor of Meru, I think she's contemptuous of the MCAs. And I think that is where the problem is. I didn't have the insider information that Honorable Dengo has. But if it is true that they had a meeting in Mombasa and they agreed on especially that development kit for the various wards, and that is what was happening, I think, in the previous regime of Kiraito Murungi. There was no, and I've heard him say that she walked out on them, and so when the MCAs were walking out on her, I think it was tit for tat, which they say is a fair game. But I think every governor should relate well with the county assembly members, because they have that symbiotic relationship, because I mean, the executive, with all the powers that the Constitution has given them, cannot expend any funds without the approval of the county assembly. And so I think it's only prudent and rational that you relate well. And sometimes for me, I say, I mean, I do not have to agree with everything you say, but I think I should listen to you. And so I think it's a breakdown of communication that has happened in Meru. And I think it's because I do not want to judge the governor, but I think she's contemptuous of them. And the issue also of the spouse, if I heard them say it's right, is also bringing issues, some heat. Because I don't know whether the allegations are true, but when they say that the spouse is even giving orders at the county level, and he is not elected. Of course, in any county, if that happens in any county, even in my county, I think there would be issues. And then this nepotism that she's being accused of. Those of us that are elected know that if you bring family members to your office, it will be the genesis of your problems. And
Senator, you have used in your response the word relate with the MCAs.
Yes.
And often we hear that have a good working relationship, but the governors, and this is from the experience of the last equally cases we saw, say it's a matter of more than just relation, that the MCAs want to hold the governors hostage.
Yeah. I think there should be a balance in everything. By relating well with them, I do not mean maybe bribing them or maybe giving in to their monetary demands, but listen to them. If you are governor and you cannot answer calls from even your majority leader, then there is a problem. If you are a governor and maybe you agree with your MCAs on a particular thing and then you backtrack on the same, then I mean there is a problem. You are not relating well, because in politics this is a game of persuasion. Abu, I mean you do not force people to do anything. I mean you cannot force people to listen to you, as was proved by the county assembly members in Meru, that yes, you can have all the power, you can have all the authority, but you cannot force us to listen to you. We will choose whom to listen to, when to listen to them, and we'll also choose whom not to listen to. And so I think it's a matter of where I come from, they say that you may not give somebody everything they ask for, but you can give them a sweet word and they'll be okay.
A consensus, in other terms, you mean? Yeah, okay, yes.
On that one, I'd want to say that you'll be told many times, when you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name, so that when you are dealing with it, then nobody will complain. MCAs, they are at the root there. Where they are dealing with the common mwananchi every day and seeing and touching and hearing the problems of the people. And then you will find that a budget was approved by 30th of June. Up to February, that budget the governor has not started implementing, because he's trying to cook some tenders here and there and everywhere. And there is a bridge that has broken down. The MCAs cannot go to his home, and the villagers are coming to his home every morning. And the MCAs,
that's a political pressure.
Yes, the MCAs are coming to the assembly and saying, let us move a motion to know from the governor why this budget is not being implemented. Why the governor, with this money allocated for this bridge, this tender cannot be awarded for this bridge to be done. Actually, because I've been the speaker for 10 years, I can tell you I have not had any incident anywhere where my MCAs have been asking or I'm twisting the governor. What they have been wanting, and the motions that we have moved, the most motions, about 10, is on lack of implementation of the budget. You understand that almost 75% of the governors, they absorb the recurrent expenditure, but return at least half of the development expenditure. The person who receives the direct hit from that is the MCA. That's where the problem is. Non-implementation of the development fund. Mm-hmm. In Nyandarua, I think the highest Kimemia ever implemented in 1 year is 15%. But you always, recurrent would go to 130, eating into even development. So that is where you find the problem, because the MCA wants to see the concerns of the members being addressed, of the public being addressed, but some of the governors are not interested. And
Chairman, one point that is standing out is the role of spouses in the running of the county affairs. It nearly costed the former Wajir governor his job. The spouse, the lady, was accused of meddling in the county affairs. In Meru County, you see the MCAs complaining of the spouse giving orders to members of the county assembly, giving orders to the county leaders themselves.
Actually, it is very unfortunate. In Wajir, I could receive this kind of information from the MCAs, the members of the county assemblies forum, about the powers that were vested in the spouse of the governor. And actually, it really almost destroyed the hopes of the people of Wajir. In Meru, actually, and it is good, Senator, you have mentioned, I had not mentioned it, is that actually the main complaint by the MCAs is on the spouse of the governor. The guy is Oversight and he is everywhere. And kind of he is a hindrance to service delivery to the people of Meru. And therefore, clearly, I think for the governor to be able to move on, actually he should allow the first gentleman, he can be appearing during national holidays to accompany her into those things. But when she is discharging her duties, she does not need the money to be everywhere. The man can do other things at home.
All right.
Otherwise, it is a major issue, but fortunately, it is not prevalent. It is, you find that incident...
Isolated cases.
Isolated cases.
It was in Wajir last year, it is in Meru now. Yeah. Senator, without getting personal to the first gentleman,
yes.
There are those who claim that he's a very famous musician in that part of the country. He helped the governor win, and by extension, he has a stake indirectly in that matrix.
Well, this matter is a bit sensitive because, like you say, we do not want to get to the private lives of people. But I think every politician that wins, there are people who have stood by them. I mean, spouses stand by and with, their spouses if they are looking for an elective position. But once now the job is done, you have helped your spouse win an election, I think you should take a back seat. And now, because your job has paid off, you have helped them, be elected, and they have been elected. You give them now time to go and deliver services to the people. Otherwise, it does not give you an entitlement to for example, the county government, if you're talking about a governor, because in any case, the spouse, the governor is your spouse. And so if you're going to get to derive any benefit from your spouse being the elected leader, then you should get them indirectly. I mean, and as Honorable Dewa is saying, I mean, appear there, just like first ladies do. Don't talk about politics. I mean, the spouse is accused of having sung a bye-bye song to the outgoing governor, Kiraito, which was, it was not in good taste, because looking at it, even a first lady who keeps commenting about political issues will bring problems. And I think I want to thank some spouses. Margaret Kenyatta, for example, a very respectable lady, 10 years. Said nothing, didn't make any political comment, just talked about her, it was zero what? Beyond zero campaign, yes. Which was very good. The sitting first lady, Rachel Ruto, you know, will just talk about supporting her husband, praying for her and for him, and not delving into political issues, because the moment you get into political issues as a spouse, then you know, politics is volatile, because if you make a political you know, comment, you know, politicians will respond to you in a political way, which may not be very good. And I think that is what is happening in Meru. So to answer your question in short, I mean, spouses should take a backseat. They should just support their spouses, their husbands, their wives, you know, from behind the scenes, especially after the elections have been won.
All right, Mheshimiwa,
and maybe finally,
yes.
I think Governor
on the Meru matter,
Kawira,
yes.
Mwangaza, I think Meru, we have a national park and there are good hotels there. She should eat a herbal pie and call the leader of majority, the speaker, and the entire Meru County Assembly, and take them to that quiet place, and they discuss about the larger interest of the Meru as a county and its people. And when they come back, they come and work for the Meru people. That is a plea we are making. Otherwise, it is very bad for devolution, and it is not right for the people of Meru, the people of Mount Kenya, and the people of this country. What is happening in Meru today?
Earlier on, we talked of the executive power in the county being with the governor. The legislative power, the constitution vests on the members of county assembly. Mheshimiwa Ndegwa, let me ask you this, and I'll equally ask Senator Joe this. We have seen quite a number of governors issue executive orders. Are they constitutional? Do governors have the mandate to order an executive order?
An executive order, obviously it must be based on the law. I think you have seen the 6-page executive order issued by the president, defining the roles of his cabinet and those who are holding delegated executive authority in his government. But it is clearly within the law. I've actually seen even governors gazetting completely illegal things.
In the name of executive?
In the name of the executive orders, or in the name of creating some tax forces and other moribund and pedestrian entities, which do not find any legitimacy in the law. And I am very surprised, because we have the benefit of county attorneys in most of the 47 county assemblies and of county governments. And I would really, is a plea, this authority, executive authority, is not for us. It is not for our families. It is for our people. We are trustees of this executive authority, and it should serve the interest of the people. Let the governors take time to read the law and then apply that law to the best interest of the people. And we expect that they should be consulting with the county attorneys before they go out there to issue some statements, because some statements, actually, they are embarrassing.
All right, Joe, perhaps the same question.
Yes. Every executive order summary issues, whether they are governor or even the president, should be orders that are well anchored in law, because these are, you know, a society that believes in the rule of law, and any order that is illegal, I mean, should not be made. And those who make such orders should be called out for making such orders. But I think where maybe the governors are making executive orders that are lawful, then I think, especially when it is affecting positively the delivery of services, then they should make them. But if it is illegal, then like Mheshimiwa Ndegwa says, I mean, let's avoid illegalities so that we lead by example and show our people that this is not a lawless society.
All right, and often we hear the term when a governor makes reference to as my MCAs, my members of county assembly. Does that language sit well with the MCAs?
No, it is quite okay, and because even myself as a speaker, I would always, even if there were those disagreements, I would always say about my governor. You will also hear the MCs talking about their governor. And I think it is a collegial way of relating with each other. In that you are moving in the same direction, you are pulling in the same direction, there is ownership of each other, so that you are able to gel and be able to move the agenda for the people. So actually it has never sat badly with the MCs, and I think they are happy.
All right, Senator, as we conclude, what kind of a relationship should we expect between the Senate and the governors in this oversight mandate that senators constitutionally have?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think our people should understand that the senator is not an enemy of the governor. And where, the interests of the county, demand that maybe the governor and the senator work together, I think for me, I'm going to do so. The relationship is also determined by individual governors. There are governors that will not want or allow the senator to do their job. The senator has been given the mandate to oversight the county, the executive, so that there are no excesses in the county government. And some governors now take it personal. And they are like, this senator is my enemy. The senator has to do their job, which is to oversight the county government and to see that the use of public, county resources is prudent. So where a senator raises, a voice against maybe some excesses, some governors will, of course, treat them like enemies. And in such a situation, then, of course, the relationship between the governor and the senator, of course, becomes hostile, because the senator has to do his job. And maybe the governor does not want to be oversighted, and that is what happened in my county of Murang'a for the 10 years, where the two senators had it very rough from the governor, including I think the first senator was even warned never to step into Murang'a, and you get there, and you go to Murang'a, and you'll get goons, calling you all types of names and harassing you and telling you are not even going to alight from your car, and that kind of thing. Of course, the relationship cannot now be good between such a governor and the senator. But where a governor has the heart to serve the people, where the governor does not intend or has no intention of maybe plundering county resources, I don't think there should be any problem between the governor and the senator. They should relate quite well and appreciate that each one of them was elected to carry out their mandate. And so it depends mostly on the governor.
And Senator, with all these layers of oversight, how comes the taxpayer still loses billions of shillings? If there is an oversight at the national level in the name of a senator who sits in the Senate, an oversight at the county level in the name of county assemblies, members of county assemblies who are in the county assembly.
Yeah. Sometimes listening to senators who are in the last house, in the last parliament, I think we may still need to do something in our constitution, maybe to empower some institutions. Because senators, I've heard them say they summoned some governors, and my governor of Murang'a, the first governor, was one of such governors that was summoned and did not honor the summons. And the senator had no power to do anything. It is just the same with the EACC, that they will, investigate, maybe make a report, but of course they're not going to prosecute. Somebody will still have to be taken to court. So EACC, once it takes you to court and maybe presents the evidence, they have no power to do anything else apart from that. So maybe if we have a chance to look at our constitution again, we may need to empower some of these institutions so that at least they have some teeth to bite. Otherwise, it's unfortunate.
Ndego Home, the senator talks of some teeth to bite. As we conclude this discussion, as you answer that question of how comes with these quite a number of levels of oversight. The taxpayer still loses billions of shillings. How equally does Meru get out of this mess, in your view?
On the oversight, I would want to say that there is a principle or a philosophy that was cultivated in this country of political correctness. That when you are defined as politically correct, you can kill, you can steal, you can plunder, nothing can happen to you. A case in point is the case of Nyandarua. I have filed about 14 petitions, and I can tell you as a lawyer is that the person concerned should be in jail at this time. But the guy is walking free because he was considered politically correct. And Dego Wahome, just being afraid to the president, was seen as an enemy, as a nuisance, and therefore whatever you said about Prada of billions belonging to the people of Nyandarua, nobody was concerned about it. When organizations work, as the president has been saying, and you can see he has started empowering the government agencies involved in the criminal justice system, the DCI, the DPP, the police, and also the judiciary. He has agreed that he is going to afford them according to their budgetary needs. And therefore we expect that issues will be expeded, because like the senator here, they will make very good recommendations. But after that, that report is submitted to the DCI and to the EACC, and they are the people who now gather the evidence, get the witness statement, and now prepare a file for prosecution. These things were not happening. The reports by the Senate, the report by the County Assembly of Nyandarua, they are aligning with the EACC, about 14 of them, with clear evidence. But the philosophy of political correctness prevailed. Therefore, what we need is that let the investigative agencies, the agencies of the criminal justice system of this country, let them do their work. Now they have been given the freedom, they have been empowered, let them do their work. And also now, let the Senate, then the county assemblies, and the governors, we all know our roles. The Constitution is very clear, the fourth schedule is very clear, and it defines what is for the national government, what is for the county government, what the Senate is supposed to do, what the county assemblies are supposed to do, what the governor is supposed to do. And I think there is no doubt, there is no any confusion as to what we are supposed to do. Let us, as the senator said, let us observe our reins. And I'm telling you, we are looking at prosperity hub. These billions, if they are expended properly within the counties, I'm telling you, Kenya should be a middle income country with everybody rich and happy in the next 10 years.
All right.
That we have almost wasted the other 10
In less
years.
than 10 seconds, how does Meru get out of this mess?
As I have said, and this is a plea to Governor Her Excellency Kawira Mwangasa. Kaidre, Meru is bigger than the governor. Meru is bigger than the MCAs. Meru is for today, is for tomorrow, is for posterity. We are merely trustees now to ensure that we secure Meru for the future of our children. Let everybody retreat. Let all of us eat the herbal pie. Let us sit down and define a path for posterity for the people of Meru.
All right, Senator John.